We watch social media, we
Mhm.
watch movies, we watch all it, and it's a very happy ending, wonderful thing. We have little challenges that are fun, but not too difficult.
Yeah.
But life is going to have some very difficult things. Hey, it's Harry
And Carson,
with the Pillars Podcast.
real talk for real growth.
Let's dive in. Carson, it's so great to be able to have this conversation again with you today.
Yes, good morning.
We've been having a good time. Do you think?
Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Having a time to kind of talk about what God is doing and specifically thinking about the things that we can tell young men who are going through different things in their life that would help them to actually become men. And like we were talking earlier, I'm so excited for you because, I see myself when I was your age and going through this, coming 20 years old, getting ready to embrace life. And I'm excited to do it and wanting to do it. But there's certain things I just didn't know that I didn't know. And,
Yeah.
And I just want to be able to offer some help to young men so they can, oh, I didn't know that. And it just becomes another thing they put into their treasure chest to be able to navigate
Yeah.
life.
I can tell you from being in that position, if we had somebody that was able to give us knowledge or anything
Yeah.
like that, it would mean the world to all of us because at this time of our lives, we feel we're still searching, trying to understand why we fail, what those failures mean, what the next step is. So
Yeah.
I love where we're going
No,
with
very
this.
good.
Yeah.
Well, what we're talking about today is the adventure and this life of adventure of being a man. We have to embrace it because it is entirely an adventure where we're going as a man. And the pathway is not just simply, walking through a nice, beautiful garden all the time.
Yeah.
There are going to be some challenges and there are going to be some treachery that we have to be prepared for. But to recognize that's kind of what's happening in life. That's the name of the game. It's going to be like that. So I'm looking
Kind of
forward.
like a perspective.
Yeah. When you think about adventure, people go to amusement parks for adventure, right?
Yeah.
They go to be amused, but if you're a roller coaster rider and that thrills you,
That's me.
you want the adventure, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to go and know it's going to do something that you didn't expect, and what thrill
Yeah.
that would be, right? Life is a lot like that.
Mm.
We are on this adventure and it's going to have some twists and turns and loops and all. And if we don't recognize that that's a part of the life journey, we may have something weird happen and be like, oh, tragic, and you'll crumble.
Yeah.
But man, I want young men to embrace this whole reality that this is an adventure.
So what would you tell somebody who is just looking at, oh, I just keep failing and nothing's working out for me? And how would you encourage them to change their perspective on that?
Well, if we approach them or help them approach life with this overall just concept that I'm going to have some struggles.
Yeah.
We live life wanting to have life easy. And like we were talking about before, we watch social media, we watch movies, we watch all it, and it's a very happy ending, wonderful thing. We have little challenges that are fun, but not too difficult.
Yeah.
But life is going to have some very difficult things. And if we're aware of that first, then at least we can say, okay, I'm bracing myself. I played football when I was young, and I enjoyed the game of football. I enjoyed hitting and banging and running and everything like that. But there are times I got hit really hard, and it would hurt. But that was part of the game. I understood that. I was prepared for that, and it was okay okay, I'm going to be hurt.
Yeah.
And sometimes getting hurt, still having fun doing it, and then after the fact, it's fun to go, brag about, like, well, see this bump right here? I got this because, I was running through the hole and I hit a helmet. And
bragging about the scars.
You start bragging about it, and it becomes something pretty exciting.
That's so funny that you say that, because with people's testimonies, that's like what that is in their life.
Yeah. You got to have, in order that often in church settings, they talk about you can't have a testimony, which is telling about something that took place
Right.
and that you overcame, unless you actually have a test.
Test, yeah.
You got to have that test to be able to have something to talk about. Hey, I overcome this, and this is how this happened.
Or it's just an amoni.
Yeah, just the moaning. It'd be moaning all the time. It's very easy to get excited when you read Scripture in a way that you pay attention to the journey of these people in Scripture, because God's over it all.
Yeah.
This is a whole thing that God is doing with this world and His creation and man, and this is His thing, and He has got a journey for us to go on. And if you read Scripture, you can clearly see, oh man, there's exciting things that are happening.
Yeah.
And those who trust God and depend upon Him, every one of them go through something.
Yeah.
And the story of their life, in conclusion, when we look back at it now, we can look at it clearly and say, oh, God was totally involved in that. Think about David. David's one of your favorites, right?
Yeah.
David's a little shepherd boy, and he's just tending the sheep as if like this is what he has to do. And he's the youngest brother. Everybody else is doing something that he probably considers more significant. He's just out there tending sheep. But in the process of tending sheep, God is teaching him a whole lot about trusting Him. And he enacts this trust in God by defeating lions and tigers and bears to preserve the sheep that he is he's over and taking care of. And it's in preparation for him trusting God enough to be able to stand and fight against Goliath.
Yeah, to take on the next
adventure.
Yeah, wow.
Next. Hey, you think in our life, we're never going to be prepared for the big thing unless we start doing the little things and realize, oh, I could trust God in that. Oh, that's going to be okay to do that. Well, He delivered me from that. That's very, very interesting and exciting. And so we pay attention that it's going to be an adventure and something's going to happen. We're preparing ourselves for whatever is the next big adventure.
Hey, we're glad you joined us today.
If you're resonating with the conversation, hit subscribe and stay in the loop.
Got a question or a topic you'd like us to explore? Drop it in the comments. We're listening.
And remember, the Pillars podcast is not just about talking. It's about taking action.
Check the link for more. And I think with that mindset too, it's so much easier to wrap your head around it in your situation if you just look at it like, I'm going through this and I know that God's preparing me for something else.
Yeah.
And without this, I wouldn't be equipped.
Yeah. That's really good. If we're prepared for it and thinking that even the failure, remember we talked about one time before, is that failure is a part of the game.
Yeah.
Because failure is what we learn from. It helps us to go, oh, that wasn't good.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and I think one of the reasons why we talk about community and being with men and having some mentoring that happens, it helps us to avoid the very big pitfalls that are avoidable. When they're avoidable.
What's like an example of that?
Say, for instance, if you talk about David, when David was a king, right? He knew that the time for kings to go to battle, this was his time to go to battle.
Yeah.
He isolated himself from those around him who would say, hey, let's go. And he was a king. He had a lot of power to do that. So he could do that. But in a situation where we know we should be with the right people, those people can give us what we need. They can surround us and protect us to keep us from the pitfalls. But him not being in the battle and up on the rooftop and looking down and saying, ooh, that's nice, and getting the temptation of this woman, if he had not been in that space, he would have had the right surroundings and he would have not had this affair and had this child. And a lot of times for us to help us avoid some of these pitfalls, we need the right people around us. We need to put ourselves in the right setting to avoid those big pitfalls. And that's just a story of our life that we'll experience it. Sometimes we'll step in a big trap and we'll know, oh my goodness, had I not done that or been there or been with these people, that might not have happened.
So you're also saying that in this journey of embracing life as an adventure, it's essential to have that community.
Comrades in the journey. Yes.
Right.
Yes. It's very, I was watching a reel or Instagram the other day, and this one guy was talking about how he loves the solitude, that the solitude in his life is good. And I get the point of being able to, pay attention to some tough things and do tough things even alone and by yourself.
Yeah.
But in one of the scenes, he was at a party and he was with people and he was still feeling alone with people. And I thought, that's something different
Yeah.
than just isolation. When it's the time for you to be alone and the time for you to put in the extra effort where nobody is watching, yes, absolutely. But when you're with people and you can't find that connection with people, that's something entirely different. And we want to be able to have that connection so that we feel a part of community. When you feel a part of community, it does lead us in higher ways. If you want to be alone all the time just to go work out to build up your body and have it for that vanity point, there's not a lot of value in that.
Yeah.
But if you want to have community and you do have community that is helpful to you, it's going to produce fruit. And it's like we said, what a real man does is he brings life.
Yeah.
And when he brings life, you have to be in community to be bringing life. When you're isolated, you aren't in the same way bringing life, especially if you're isolated because you find it difficult being with people. And being with people, life is going to be an adventure.
So how would you, I'm just thinking about people who don't have that kind of community and they feel like they're in that kind of victim mentality of, oh, this is never going to work out because I don't have this and I don't have these people. How would you encourage a young man to embrace what's going on and to take steps to move away from that or toward that?
Well, a lot of what I try to do is find out what young men are interested in. The best way to do that is actually find out what they're interested in, and from that interest,
Like hobbies,
what they like to look at, play with.
Yeah.
Just if you're aware of that, then I could find a way to participate with them in doing that. And if I can then from that point of view, then get other people. Like tonight, we'll be going to a football game with one of the young men who I mentor. And the guys who know him, he went to Jamaica with us too on the trip.
Oh, okay.
And so he's going to play football, and we're gonna go and see what he is doing and encourage him along and stuff. So that's part of the community. And maybe we're not focusing on anything that's really that important right now, but we're creating that community. We're creating that unity that says, hey, you're part of us. We love you. We're going to be excited to be able to see if you get that interception, make that touchdown, and we're going to celebrate that, and we can talk about that. And then having that community, if he's going through something later on in life and he needs to have someone to talk to, the bridge has already been developed. The bridge has already been constructed. So he has an easy pathway to get to us, and we're going to say, like, we know we're all on an adventure.
Yeah.
So whatever it is that you're going through, we're going to have an eye-to-eye understanding, like, yeah, this sucks, right? But this is not the end of the story. This is a part of the adventure. So let's go. We're here with you.
So you're kind of saying is not only find some of the things that they like, hobbies, but it's also just showing up.
Yeah, it's showing up. Showing up for the game.
Yeah, I think that speaks even more volumes than what they like. Obviously it's something important to them, but I can totally see, I can just imagine if it was my football game and you showed up and I saw you and you saw the play that I made or something, I would be so excited that you saw that. And
I went to one of his game last year and he didn't get a chance to play. Yeah. And I'm sure that, and he's not very excited, but he's still excited that I showed up. And I'm like, keep going, man. Don't give up now.
Yeah.
You're underclassman now, but you're not going to be the underclassman.
Someone's got to keep the bench warm.
Exactly. And you're going to be looking back next year and like, oh, that's the guy. That's his position now.
Yeah.
And it's so very important to do that. being aware that life is an adventure, like we said, the preparation of the mindset, yet that life is going to be an adventure, and there are going to be some tough parts of it, and it's going to be preparation for the next thing. And overall, if we are prepared, like we talked about having the warrior spirit,
Yeah.
if you have that warrior spirit, you're ready for the adventure. You're ready to say, let's take it on. And then if you have a team with you, it instills that courage. When we talk about what a real man is, he's a real man. He leads with courage. And we're looking at instilling courage so that you can actually pursue life in that adventure.
And so that's kind of essential to embracing life as an adventure.
Yeah.
Is the warrior spirit, your community, being courageous, taking all those things
Yes, indeed.
into consideration.
Yep. So you're going to do a surfing tournament one day and I go watch your surfing
I
tournament?
don't know about that.
I'll go surfing with you.
Maybe I'll invite you and I'll be the judge.
I'll look forward to that. Well, we're about out of time, but I do appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak to men and encourage them to prepare themselves and be expectant that this life is going to be an adventure.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, we'll come back and we'll be talking next time about how to be a real man.